I was in Army for so long, I never think about something else. And I think one way or another, we still strong enough to defend the South. And I never trust to anybody to tell me before that we're going to surrender or something. But it happened.
What did your family do?
My family leaving the country about 4 days before that, take care of one of my American friends. But I stay behind until very last day, April 30th.
How did families make the decision to leave or stay?
Well, I think that for us, it was a somewhat easy decision for two reasons. One is that our family came from the north. So in 1954, my grandparents and my parents actually had to leave Vietnam because of the communist and the way that the country was divided. And second of all, I think that our family was, just like Mr. Vu said, is in the military, and therefore there was fear that we were going to be persecuted, both because of our affinity with the government, but also because we were Catholics. And that was the reason that in 1954 a lot of people left, was because they were fear of being persecuted for being Catholics.
After about 2 years, they get enough experience living in the communist, and people try to go out. And in my office, we have all information of the 20-year Bo people history.
The death rate of Vietnamese refugees is pretty high. You know, people estimate it between 50%, as high as 50%, to as low as 25%. And I think 30% is a good, probably an accurate, and we'll never know, right? That's one of those things that, for those of us who are Vietnamese, we'll never know the exact number.
Vietnamese in Vietnam have a very different take on April 30th, 1975, than Vietnamese here in America. Tell us about that.
Well, for those Vietnamese living in Vietnam, 1975, they considered it the day of liberation, because they then began to be liberated from the Americans, and they unified the country. So for them, it was a celebration. It was one of those things that was received very well. For those of us who are Vietnamese American, we think of it as the dark day. It was the darkest day because we, as Vietnamese refugees, left our homes. So we remember it, we commemorate it with the painful realization that our homeland has now no longer free. It is now no longer what we used to think of it as our homeland. So very different perspectives, and I think part of it is because they're victor and they have the right to celebrate and think of it as liberation. For those of us who are living overseas, who are Vietnamese refugees, it was a day that we'll never forget. I mean, I think if you ask Vietnamese Americans, where were you on April 30th, everybody can tell you where we were. I mean, we can tell you to the day what happened to us, and we can tell you that when we get together and when we eat food and we talk to one another, it was a day for us to bond, to rekindle the fact that we are no longer in our home, and that we have tried to live up to those expectations of developing a community here.